Hey guys, welcome back to the Evening Podcast. I am your host, Adrian. My brother Luke is behind the lens, and the title of this episode is What Have You Done For Me Lately? As we get into this episode, you guys will be astounded at what we will be breaking down scripture-wise, so I truly hope you guys enjoy this episode. All right. Okay, Luke, what have you done for me lately? Sounds like a selfish
Absolutely
question, because it is.
Yeah.
You and we talked about this today. You brought it up. This was a good what unction that you got?
Yeah, I just feel like months ago, this has just been ringing in my spirit, like just what have I done so wrong for you to turn your back on me? You know, like just God speaking that.
Yeah.
And I feel like just there's so many of us right now who at one point we are on fire for God, but then why does that fire stop?
Yeah.
What causes that fire to stop? And I feel like
Excuse the baby in the background.
And this is something that's just been I've been thinking about a lot, you know, because one, there's certain actions that I do in my own life, just whether it be small or big, where that's the thing, why would I do A, B, C, or D, or why would I even think that God isn't here? Or, you know, I have to question my own motives, why would you allow that doubt to come in?
Yeah.
When look at God's track record, you know what I mean?
No, I love that, just asking that, because it makes you.
Can you move the mic closer to you? Sorry.
I love that we've asked that question, because when you're living in a season of abundance, you can start to have this self-righteous arrogance about yourself, because you've gone so long from a hard time that you forget that God brought you to that through that hard time to where you're in this season of abundance, and that this arrogance, because you've been in it so long, has settled in to where you think that the good things that are happening is because of you.
Yeah.
And when you're hit with a resistance or something that you've forgotten about, like you've lost the muscle memory of suffering, now you're ready to dismiss God because you think that you've been the reason why things have been going well for so long, up until said moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, God, what have you done for me lately? What do you mean, what have I done for you?
Yeah.
It's like, have you forgotten so quick?
Yeah.
And that brings us to the scripture we want to bring you guys to. If you guys could just go to Jeremiah 2. It's good to read the entire thing, but we're just going to speak specifically to two portions to kind of get to the context of what we want to speak on. So I'm going to start. This is chapter 2, verse 5. It says, "This is what the Lord says. What fault did your ancestors find in me that they strayed so far from me?" That's a question the Lord is asking. They followed worthless idols and became worthless themselves. Now, if we move over to verse 11, because he begins to ask those similar questions, and he comes here at verse 11, he says, "Has a nation ever changed its gods? Question mark, lowercase g. Yet they are not gods at all. But my people have exchanged their glorious God for worthless idols." Idols being another word for little gods. God the Father is asking his people a question, like what did I do to make you just so easily dismiss everything I've done for you? Like, did I not give you life? Did I not provide for you? Did I not save your people from Egypt? Like, did I not do all these things? And you guys act like I never showed up. I never had my hand in your life. It was so easy for you guys to just create something else. Why is that? That's a question we have to ask ourselves. Why is it so easy for us to allow the physical to become bigger than the spiritual? Because we can't see it.
Yeah.
And therefore, whatever we see becomes bigger than the God that is unseen, right? But yet we cry out to him in our lowest moments. We try to give him glory when we're receiving an award of some sort, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that what is missing is that through all the things that the Israelites went through, they I'm gonna go back. When Moses went to the mountain to speak with God for 40 days, in
Yeah.
40 days, they had already built a shrine of somebody else because Moses took too long to come back down from speaking with God.
And gave the shrine the credit for taking them out of Egypt.
Don't miss what he just said, y'all. Moses went away for 40 days in the mountain to be with God to receive the 10 commandments on how they should live. In those 40 days, these guys built a shrine of a bull, a golden calf, to celebrate and give the credit to that for why they just came out of slavery. Like, think about how idiotic that has to be.
Yeah.
That y'all just crossed the Red Sea, had a fire come down from the sky, and you think that this golden calf that y'all made, y'all molded this from all the jewelry and gold that y'all had. And you guys are giving that the credit as to why you're free. Like how the Father feels disrespected when you hear how he starts with this.
Yeah.
What fault did your ancestors find in me? That's what God said.
Yeah.
Like, what did they find in me that they were so quick to turn and follow worthless idols?
Yeah. In the NKG version, for verse 11, it says, "Has a nation changed its God, which are not gods, but my people have changed their glory for what does not profit." So I feel like a lot of things that these people are doing is like they start to idolize the financial things. They start to idolize the blessing itself. So like these people are all slaves. They're all slaves. I don't even know where they got the gold, but somehow they managed to get all the gold and get it together. And for the first time, this is probably the most gold they've ever seen before. So like this is something they used to see the Egyptians wearing gold.
Yeah.
You know, they used to see everybody with the pristine and the prestigious people. They had, that's what gold was. So now that they've collected all of it and now it looks like it's this big thing, they now magnify it and create a God out of it. But that's what I see happening to a lot of believers who, when you're broke and you're lonely and you're downcast and you don't have nothing and God's there, he picks you up, all of a sudden you financially things are working well, or maybe you become popular. Maybe when you were in high school, you were bullied, people didn't like you, but now that God's been using you, now you're getting pats on the back, you're getting applauses. You're now falling more in love with what God is blessing you with, like, which is actually something that you are reaping based off of the gifting that you're sowing. You know, you're sowing a gift and what you're reaping is now becoming the idol, but and you just take all the credit away from the God who gave you the gift itself.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that's what I see is just, we start to shift our focus, and God is blessing us, but it's not, he doesn't want us to idolize the blessing.
Yeah, man. It's I think we read it too. I think it was it in Micah that we talked about that God was, he doesn't care about the sacrifice.
Yeah.
He doesn't care about the offerings. He cares about your heart.
Yeah.
And when your heart is so far away from him,
Yeah.
all he wanted was you to have a relationship with. He wanted to be in a relationship with all of you guys like he was with Moses.
Yeah.
Moses was just the leader.
Yeah.
Like, but he wanted you guys to all seek him and want to seek him and be in a relationship. But yet you guys were so impatient.
Bro, he was spoiling them, trying to get their heart. and they never gave it to him. How many of y'all have like tried to spoil a chick, a female, or anybody? You tried to shower somebody with gifts, whether it be a loved one, a friend, and all you cared about was their heart, and they still backstabbed you. They still talked behind your back. They still played you. All he wants is the heart, which is the easiest thing. Like, how do they then replace? They give the heart to the things that he's giving them.
Well, I think that's like, if we look at our own culture, like, think about this. Like, if we look at Black culture, man, like I grew up in a culture, you know, and it's still the same to this day. The material things, is a status symbol. Having the shoes or the fit, the brand, the clothing brand, or the shoes, like that means something to people, and it signifies that, man, you blessed
Yeah. You're somebody.
because you are driving a certain car, or
Yeah.
you wearing a certain pair of shoes, or the fit you got on. When we're irresponsible with these liberties, it's not bad to dress nice. It's not bad to keep yourself together or to have nice things. What's bad is the heart behind it.
Yeah.
What's bad is the posture behind it. That when, like, are you doing these things for the self gratification from your peers, or are you doing it out of just, the liberty that you have to do it?
Yeah.
Are you still humble?
Yeah. Because that's the thing, bro. Like, if God is blessing you, accept blessings. I'm the type of person, if I buy you food, so I'll do two things, bro.
Yeah.
I'll ask if you want some food, and I'll pray to God that you don't say yes because I'm broke, but I'm just trying to be nice. So there's that side of me.
You just say the right thing.
Yeah, but there's the other side of me where it's like, if I buy you food and it's here and you reject it, I feel away. Because I'm like, yo, I don't do this for everybody. Most of the time, I just act like I want to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like when God is giving you gifts, the last thing you want to do is push away what God's trying to bless you with. But he gives you gifts so that you can then glorify him and you can point everybody back to God. But in our culture, we get these things so that we can wear it and just be and boast about it. We boast in that stuff. It's heavy like that. You know how it is.
Yeah.
Even black people will brag about anything. We'll brag about how broke we've been. We back. Oh man, you ain't struggled like me. We grew up without water. Like we will brag about being the best of anything, even if it's the worst.
Yeah.
Like I've heard inmates talk about how much time they've done, and like it's just like, wow, bro, you wasted 10 years of your life, man. Kudos to you. Like,
you always got to one up.
Exactly.
You always got to one up in every situation. Like if somebody's talking about hardship, like I have a worse hardship.
Yeah.
Like that's not the point, bro.
It should be, look how much glory God's gotten out of my life.
Yes.
Like, look at what God has done for me. Oh my gosh, look what God did for me.
That is it.
That's the mindset that we should have. But the problem is we come from the slave mentality. We come from the field inward, house inward mentality. We come from, just that competitive nature.
Yeah.
And that's how the children of Israel were. They were all slaves. So I'm sure they were competing to be who's the best slave. Who can work the hardest? You know what I mean? Like who can eat the most onions? Like it's that similarity that we have. And that's the irony about this whole thing, because we see that in our culture so much. We see so many people who, one thing that you said was, when you were growing up in the hood, the dope boy had all the money.
Yeah.
So you're now idolizing this person who's doing nothing but damage to the community because of what he has.
Yeah.
And like we see that person as like a prestige. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we literally just idolize what they have.
But it's because the thing about poverty, like growing up in poverty, growing up with lack, it's not much to grab hold to. So when you see somebody that looks flashy, that looks like they got it together, it is attractive to the eye. And it's just and that's part of how sin works. Lust of the eyes, pride of life, and so on. But it's unfortunate that you don't have the right like people around you. You would think that your mother and father would be the type of people around you to help steward you to have an eternal perspective, a heavenly perspective on things. But everything's always short goals because we're thinking about Friday.
Yeah.
We're not thinking about eternity.
Yeah.
And we don't think that eternity is something that's obtainable because, man, the enemy has done a real good job with his domain of this system that he's created down here.
Yeah.
Because God is not petty like us.
Yeah. For
him to still say these words shows how much he cares. He's like, he's more like, man, what did I do?
Yeah.
Like, what did I do that y'all, I gave y'all everything and I'm still allowing y'all to live.
Yeah.
And y'all still choosing these made up idols, these worthless people for a glorious God.
Yeah.
I know my worth.
Yeah.
I know who I am in you guys' life. You guys have forgotten who I am.
Yeah.
And you don't be mad when I remove my hand. That's the part there that we don't talk about a lot.
Yeah.
Is that when God takes his hand off and all hell breaks loose in your life, that's when you realize, like, man, I've messed up.
Yeah.
Like, and you feel like there's no way you can get back right with him, but yet that's not how the Father works. He's not like us. Like we will cut off and wash our hands with you and be done with it. And even though we're called to forgive, right? But the Father doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
The Father, he's so different. Like this, I picture this, me saying this to my son or one of my kids at some point. Like, man, like, I wiped your butt, bro.
Yeah.
Like
I say this to my kids now. I'm like, yo, why? Why do you guys not listen to me? Like, why do y'all not trust the words that are coming out of my mouth? What have I done to cause you to lack trust in me?
Yeah.
You know, like, you don't have to question everything. Just do what I asked you to do because there's a purpose. I promise. And I've been being dramatic lately. Like, I promise there's a reason. Just do it. There's a lot happening. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so interesting because, like you said, we're so in the moment that's like, what has God done for me today?
Yeah.
And you look at the children of Israel, God was doing crazy miracles. He was literally, they were waking up and there was food for them. There was manna everywhere. And yet, the hours after eating the manna, what are we going to eat for lunch? It was so quick. And it's like a lot of, especially in American culture, we want what we want so bad. And it's like when God gives it to us, it's great. But then we're so focused on the next one that we don't understand where God has us at now.
Yes,
we
man.
We completely just disregard everything that he's still constantly doing.
Like,
and we don't, and the last thing is we also don't even do our part.
yeah.
God blesses us. It's like, cool, here's the blessing. I'm going to bless you. And this gives you room to continue to walk in my ways, walk in the path that I'm setting before you. And we immediately go our own path. We want God to fit inside our bubble.
You know, it's like that kid that's waiting for you to give you what they've been begging for, and they're like, got ants in their pan. They like answer about like, okay, yes, I'm gonna be good, and they go off. They don't care no more because they've gotten what they've been wanting.
Yep.
They don't really care. They don't care about you, the person that's giving it to them.
Yep.
And being in relationship with them. Versus like, I need this, like, and this thing is what I've been yearning for.
Yeah.
It's the toy that you're going to put down in a matter of time, like in probably 30 minutes, and going to start playing with something else. Yeah. And then when I ask you that it's come here over and eat your food.
Because they weren't asking for that thing because they wanted you. They just wanted the thing. And the crazy part about the children of Israel, nobody was asking God. You know, I mean, God hears the cries of the people, but they weren't saying, God, we just want you. No, they were, whatever they were doing according to their religion was just out of religion. You know, like, yes, we're the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Yes, you're the God. Like, we have our practices that we're going to do. Yeah. Well, there really was not even any practice at that point. God just hears the cries and he does something that they weren't even asking for. And they're like, oh, well, if you're a genie, let me get more wishes. Okay, we want this now. You know, so God literally will give you a random miracle. And then all of a sudden we act like we're just going to now put demands on God. And if you don't meet them,
we done. Because now we know what it's like to create idols. We know what it's like to create our own gods. Yeah. That like we can come to you because we know that deep inside you are the one true God. You have all power. Yeah. But once you give us the thing, we don't really need you in our life. We don't want a true intimacy with you. We don't want to have you invading our heart like that, because that means that there's some stuff that we got to give up. Yeah. And we don't want to give up these things. We don't want to give up the music we listen to. We don't want to give up the TV shows that we watch. We don't want to give up the friendships that we know that are toxic or relationships that are toxic. We don't want to give up our status. That is a stat. Let's bring it to the church. We don't want to even step down from certain roles because we feel like we are the reason that the ministry is thriving because I'm leading this ministry. Like, that's where God is like, you are so far from me. And that's where we run the line of being that believer that he's going to say, depart from me, I never knew you. That should scare people, because do you have the same posture as the Israelites have towards God? In how you serving people, how you treating people, how you treat your wife, your kids, your friends, your family. Are you honoring? He said the meek shall inherit the earth. That's what Jesus said. He didn't say the arrogant. He didn't say the entitled. He didn't say the self-righteous. He said the meek shall inherit the earth, the meek, the humble. And if we're not submitted to God when the sun is out, that we should be even more aware of God's presence in our life, because that's where everything looks the same.
Yeah.
When the rain comes, we should have security, knowing that we are so right with God that when it starts to rain, that we can have a peace knowing that He is our covering. He's going to keep us dry. And that's the posture you and I should have, and everyone watching and listening.
Yeah. One thing that I say too, just even going back to the Egyptians, their reference point for success was the children of Israel's reference points for success were these Egyptians.
Mm-hmm.
Not only that, but they're helping build these pyramids. They're helping building these idols for them. They know this is what they can do with their own hands. They're doing this for the Egyptians. So then when they're led out and Moses is gone for 40 days, they go right back to what they know. And to them, what was successful and how to create a land was always like, okay, cool. The Egyptians, they have their gods, they have their pyramids, they have their practices. So now that we're our own people, let's establish this.
Yeah.
And the problem is right now, how that relates to now is a lot of us, as we're growing up, we have people who we want to be like who are not like Christ. So then when God lifts us up, now we can finally be like those persons. We can finally live out this dream versus having the posture where I want to be like Christ, regardless of what I have or what I don't have.
Yes.
You know, if that's our goal, then we're going to be solid.
Oh, yeah.
But if our goal is to just live out a dream we had when we were 15, 16, like just doing something that we always wanted to do, but we never could, you know, like you're going to end up damaging yourself in the long run, and it's going to tear you away from God.
Yeah, and it was the thing that you're holding on to. It's not for you anyway. It was tied to what somebody else was doing, and so you want to jump on that, thinking that that's what God has for you. And and let's say you even achieve that. Let's say you get that thing that you've been holding on, and you still feel an emptiness. You feel a void in you. It's because it was never meant for you to have that. But you got it because God removed His hand. You want it so bad. Okay, you can take it. Go ahead. You can have it now. You wanted it that bad. You can have it. Yeah. And that's not how God is going to bless you. He's not going to bless the thing that you want more than Him. Like, that's why I feel like when there's, I've talked to, well, we both have, me and Erica, we've talked to people that the desire to have babies or to get pregnant or desire to be married. And I'm like, man, I get that, but that's not the promise. Yeah. That's not the journey. You know, like it was a point where we didn't think we could have kids, and we accepted that. You know, God has blessed us to have children. I think it's a miracle to have one child. And yes, I would love to see people have children, but you should always want Him more than you want that, because the thing you want, if He give it to you, you know, like you ask for something that you sure you want this? You sure you ready for this? Yeah. Because maybe you would call for something else, you know, and there's people out here that you guys know that God is asking that question, like, what has He done that you've strayed away from Him? You know, you've probably done this to God or currently doing this to God. And so it's not too late. It's not too late, guys, to correct course, to repent, to consecrate yourself, to remind yourself that God is God in your life, that He is Lord, that He has brought you through the storm. He's gotten you through it. He's brought you out of it. And He's just waiting for you to remember what He's done for you so He can continue to do for you. So as you guys listen and step away from this episode, I pray that you guys go in prayer, go and search your hearts and say, Lord, is there an area in my life where I've taken you for granted, where I've forgotten what you've done? And if so, Lord, show me, reveal it to me, and forgive me for it. I just pray that for you guys. We love you guys. And this is the Evening Podcast.
Let that heart make you know I came from